What's up guys, Ray here with another exciting episode of This Is December. This week we're taking a step back to the early 1990s as we look at the latest list of bounties and put on our hats. That's right, it's time for Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Now, I absolutely love this series, so we're going to skip introductions and explanations and all that, and we're going to immediately get
off the tracks.
The series is set in the year 2071, where the entire solar system has been made accessible via the use of hyperspace gates. In 2022, an experimental hyperspace gate actually exploded, causing a large amount of damage to the moon, creating an asteroid belt and large meteors which basically decimated most of humanity. To avoid this, the remaining survivors on Earth left the nearly uninhabitable planet and went to colonize the inner planets, the asteroid fields, and the moons of Jupiter. Because of this, Mars has become the new central hub for human civilization, and intergalactic crime has spread its influence throughout the government and the ISSP, which is the Inter-Solar System Police. This, as you can imagine, limits their effectiveness. As a result, a bounty system similar to that of the Old West is implemented for the capture of criminal, terrorists, and general unliked folk. Because of that fact, bounty hunters that use this method are commonly referred to as cowboys. The series revolves around the adventures undertaken by the crew of the spaceship Bebop. The crew is made up of 5 main characters. The first is Spike Spiegel, an exiled hitman from the ruthless Red Dragon Syndicate. Next is Jet Black, a retired ISSP officer who left after a mob hit cost him his arm. Faye Valentine, a con artist with amnesia who's woken up in the future after quite a lengthy stay in cryogenic hibernation. Radical Edward. Like I said, Radical Edward, a barefooted preteen girl who is a prolific hacker, and Ein, a hyper-intelligent, genetically modified Welsh Corgi dog. Throughout the series, Bebop crew members must deal with unresolved issues from their past. The series regularly utilizes the use of flashbacks to show the personal history of the characters. Of course, along with them dealing with their unresolved issues, they must also tackle new adventures and the struggle of everyday living. Now that I've given a brief introduction of the characters and the plot, it's time to move on to the next segment, which is none other than
the good, the bad, and the dubbers.
Before I start, allow me to express how much I love the fact that the good, the bad, and the dubbers intro just fits this series perfectly because they both have a sort of old western style to them. That being said, first up is Spike Spiegel, who is voiced by Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom has done an amazing number of roles throughout his career, but the 3 that I'm going to tell you about today are Kododa from Durarara, Todo from Code Geass, and Keisuke Takahashi from the Tokyo Pop dub of Initial D. Jet Black is voiced by Bo Billingsley, who's also done the roles of the 4th Raikage from Naruto, Edrad Leones from Bleach, and Cyborg 005 from the series Cyborg 009. The voice of Faye Valentine is provided by Wendy Lee, who's also done such roles as Shura Kirigakure from Blue Exorcist, Shizuka Hyo from Vampire Knight, and Yugito Nii from Naruto. Radical Edward is voiced by Melissa Farn, who's also done the voices of Boquette from Blue Dragon, Rika Nonaka from Digimon Tamers, and Kade Mitsume from Please Teacher. As stated before, I love Cowboy Bebop. It was probably one of the series that I got into a bit later after I got into anime because it always seemed a little too adult orientated and a bit impenetrable for me to get into. But when I finally did get into it, I fell in love with it. I was shocked that I never got into it earlier than what I did, and I've been recommending it to people left, right and center ever since. Steve Bloom has since become one of my favorite voice actors of all time, mostly because of his role as Spike, and the story is just absolutely amazing. Whether you're a new fan of anime, an old fan of anime, or not even a fan of anime at all, chances are that you will love Cowboy Bebop, especially if you are a big fan of music. as music is one of the biggest motifs in the entire series. In case you haven't already figured it out, bebop is a type of jazz which is very popular in the world, and that's just the start of the motif. Music is referenced in every single episode, whether they keep reusing a certain piece of music in an episode, or someone might make a musical joke through vocal dialogue, or heck, even some of the anime have puns on song titles as the episode title. There's everything about this series just blends together to create something absolutely and utterly fantastic and perfect. Whether it's the art style, the story, the characterization of the crew of the bebop, everything just comes together and is just wonderful. I give Cowboy Bebop a 8 out of 9 vending machines. I would rank it higher, but I don't actually believe in pure perfection, and I know that somewhere down the track there's going to be an anime series I find that I'm just going to kick Cowboy Bebop out of the top spot in my list. 8 out of 9 is absolutely fantastic. I still highly recommend that you go see Cowboy Bebop because it is great. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it without repeating myself. Either way, this has been another episode of This Is. I'm Ray. Catch you on the flip side.